Russia, a country spanning continents, from huge cities in Eastern Europe to endless steppes in North Asia. An empire that has survived for centuries. In 1914, when the system of interlocking alliances, mixed with hubris, an indifferent ruling class and vested interests ignited the European powder keg, the Tsar felt that, while there was no particular appetite for war, there was no alternative to joining the fray, lest the Kaiser ended up with Central Europe under his boot. What he did not know was that this war would be fundamentally different. Gone were the days of courageous individuals face to face in the line of battle. Instead, the Industrial Revolution had turned armed conflict into a machine, where men were but fuel, a resource to be fed to the monster of steel and ultimately expended in numbers the world had never seen before. By this brutal logic, wars were no longer won on the battlefield alone. Wars had become total, pitting whole countries against each other in a test of endurance to see which civilization would suffer the sacrifices to the machine god for longer. War had become an industry, and Russia was a country of men. So, after only 3 years, the strain became too much and Russia broke. The Tsar was forced to relinquish his rule, and as it always happens when a civilization is torn apart, those who sought to fill the vacuum of power began the immediate process of destroying each other. The marketplace of ideas became a battlefield of its own, pitting the new communist government against the white traditionalist insurgency. The shame and hardship of the revolutionary government's surrender of Brest-Litovsk, no end to the people's suffering, and German support for the whites proved once more that ideology cannot survive on empty stomachs. Yet, it would still take years and the assassination of Lenin himself for war to be officially declared over at Minsk and the counter-revolution emerging victorious. But the new democratic administration faced an impossible task. A country shattered, vast territories lost, a persistent left-wing insurgency, and the Kaiser coming to collect his dues from the impoverished nation. German banks, providing loans for rebuilding and industrializing what was left of the country, ended up with crippling influence, and foreigners owned and extracted Russian wealth, leaving the people with scraps. From poverty, ideological differences, and the bubbling bile of revanchism, Boris Savinkov emerged, with promises of bread, work, and restored greatness. Soon, violence ruled the streets again, government death squads roamed, looking for loot and blood, and the Republic was once more at the precipice. One has to wonder, how could so much damage to the fabric of a society ever be repaired? How could the pendulum swinging ever faster between extremes be stopped? Hello everyone, and welcome to a new campaign. We are playing, by public vote, as Russia. This is Hearts of Iron 4 1.16.5 and Kaiserreich 1.4.5. I know that Kaiserreich 1.5 is probably going to be coming out relatively soon, but the Russian rework should be all in this one already, so I did go and start. If you're new around here, welcome. This is going to be a longer campaign, so sit back, relax, have a cup of tea or coffee. This might take a while. Now, I am pinning the game versions for this whole thing, so not to get any updates, which means we're missing the 1.16.6 prototype vehicles and the hotfixes that were succeeding at the time of this recording, but we're going to be staying at 1.16.5 since that is the supported version for Kaiserreich. And yes, we will be playing as Russia. Russia has 3 paths. The Savinkov's sort of right-wing dictatorship, the monarchist run, and the obvious sort of left Soviet Union kind of way. But let's go through the brief history that is presented to us here. 2 decades ago, the Russian Empire was shattered, and the old world with it. The White Army marched through blood and ice, and from this victory came the Russian Republic. What began as a beautiful vision of a free Russia descended into chaos until in 1934, the legendary terrorist Boris Savinkov rose to power. But as the military grows ever restless and the opposition mounts their final defense against the creeping dictatorship, Vozhd means pretty much leader or leadership personality, kind of came out of Stalin's cult of personality. The Vozhd's position is as uncertain as can be. Russia, resurgent and confident, is seeking to carve out her rightful place in the new world that is emerging. So we are going to play Russia, the Russian Republic as it is, and by public vote this will be a monarchist run. The goal for this, opposed to my previous run where I was playing my very first time on Kaiserreich with the German Empire, is going to be significantly smaller in scope. So instead of leading the Reichspakt to winning the Second Weltkrieg and the Cold War that was succeeding it, we are going to focus on, well, restoring Russia to its greatness, which means defeating the German Empire, obviously, the Reichspakt in its totality, and restoring Russia to its rightful position. I have a storyline arc prepared for the whole thing, and you will see as this whole thing unfolds. So that's something to look forward to. But custom game rules. I am going to I'm going to load the Russia preset. The last game I have played on just default settings, default difficulty. And I have found that while people had told me that Kaiserreich was significantly harder than the base game, I found that at times it was still sort of too easy for my taste, given the things that the AI have done. So I was playing on a very much older version of Hearts of Iron 4 because the last campaign ran for a long time. This will include for me, for at least for the first time, the improved enemy AI when it comes to battle formations and the concentration of force, which I'm looking forward to. That might be quite interesting to see. But at the same time, I'm also going to be strengthening the Reichspakt. So we're significantly boosting the Germans here by giving them experience, political power, reduced division attrition, and all kinds, 15% resource speed, all kinds of benefits here. On top of that, Poland and Ukraine will be somewhat strengthened. So the Reichspakt here only applies to German Empire, German East Asia, Middle Africa, and the United Baltic Duchy, but not to the other states for some reason. So Poland and Ukraine get their own boosts here. And the Empire of Japan is going to be moderately boosted as well. So we will see how this turns out. Other than that, it's the default rules. I haven't changed anything. So that's what we're going to be applying. Iron Man mode is off because it may break games. I do use the console if needed to fix bugs. I've had this problem in the last run where we had bugs that would have otherwise been game breaking. So if it comes to it, then I will use the console to fix that. But other than that, what you see is what you get. And historical AI is obviously off because, well, this is an old history mod. So let's go. In this first episode, we will be taking pretty much a look around, so don't expect too much in terms of active gameplay. We will be diving into the lore as it appears, and the lore is new to me. I haven't played Russia before. I've just read a bit about things on the wiki, made a plan on how I am planning to execute this run. But otherwise, we'll take it as it comes. There are a few things that are new to me, like the experimental facilities. This is not something that I've played before because, like I said, I was on an older version. And for those of you who've been around from the previous campaign, I am actually playing on my PC now rather than on my old laptop because finally I could move over, and that means no annoying fun noise in the background, which I am very much in favor of. So let's take a look around. Let's see what we've got. We have obviously Boris Savinkov of the Vozhd in the leadership, and we have a very mixed parliament that we have here. We've got the Union of the Defense of the Motherland and Freedom. I think, yeah, this is Savinkov's National Populist Party, which is allied with an authoritarian Democrat party, the Assembly for Russian Unification. Largest opposition party is the Party of Socialist Revolutionaries, which is the right wing of that. They do have a left wing, so together this sort of makes the largest opposition. And we have the Constitutional Democratic Union, which is market liberal, and then a few other parties coming in. In terms of national spirits, we've got entrenched opposition, which is kicking our political power gain down. So there's probably, minus 0.8 is harsh. So there's probably not going to be coming much. We do have popular anger, which is reducing stability and political power gain. And we've got military anger. So these are two sort of restlessness factors that we've got going here. And we have the German economic influence, which kicks our war support down. But this gives us 8% research speed. Unfortunately, also 30% resources to market. So the Germans are pillaging the country as they go. Other than that, we do have advisors. We have Viktor Chernov, who gives us 5% stability, but kicks another 10% political power gain down. So political power we're not going to be having any of that, I think. We do have Vladimir Nabokov, who gives us 5% stability and minus 5% political power gain. Obviously, part of the cabinet of Savinkov and cannot be dismissed. And we do actually start out with military, with the military high command. We have General Kornilov in power as the chief of army. That is nice. That means we're going to get army experience from the onset, and we have Admiral Kolchak, which means we're also getting naval experience. Now, I'm not going to be playing much on the naval game because obviously traditionally the Russian Navy is only playing a minor role, but we'll see what we can do here. Decision-wise, what do we have? We've got to deal with the unrest. So Savinkov's regime may use special tactics and propaganda to sway the citizenry to its side. By ruling over Russia would be impossible without the genuine support, or at least passive acceptance from a large portion of society. Okay, so we've got the we've got anger levels, and we have, if we get military anger of 8 or more, that'll return a military coup. Or if we get the popular anger to 8 or more, then this will lead a revolution and overthrow Savinkov. Now, obviously, we are playing as Savinkov, so I have something prepared for that, but you'll probably be seeing that in the next episode. Today, we'll just be going around the basics here. Currently, we're at 2. They are wary of us, and we can spend political power to reduce the popular anger. But we're not going to get any political power, I think, at this point. So land reform is in progress, and it is going to take over a year, so not much we can do here. We can spend political power to try to get closer to the military. Again, same problem here. And we do currently Germany has a stranglehold on, or German capital and investment has a stranglehold on the Russian industry. Similarities with current political events are completely coincidental and not intended. Vilnius Agreement of 1926 has since established great German economic influence in Russia. It has been useful at times, but we do need to get rid of that influence of our most hated enemy. Current influence level is 8. It doesn't quite say what that does, but I can spend political power to reduce this influence. And I am assuming that is going to wind down the impact of this particular national spirit. All right, that's what we got. The usual propaganda, and we have the usual stability and political influence things as well. So. Okay, we've got a few things to work with, but I am fully assuming, knowing Kaiserreich at this point, that there's going to be a heck of a lot more stuff coming up. All right, research. So let's have a quick look at these experimental facilities, because I haven't played with these yet. We do have, I do know sort of the basics. We do have a land facility, and that land warfare facility is near Moscow, so we're starting out with 1, and we do have to assign somebody there. We've got 3 scientists. We've got Nikolai Dukov, who is bright, but he is inexperienced in land warfare. So it's probably going to be worth seeing what kind of projects we actually have here. So flamethrower tank, military engineering vehicles. This is again new to me, so we'll explore that together. And big artillery, land cruiser. This is all stuff I'm very interested in. So my general approach for this run for Russia is going to be build big. So we are going for big, lumbering, imposing things rather than small, rapid moving things. We'll see how that goes. I do like to explore different options, but I have some ideas that I want to try out with when it comes to super heavy machinery. I feel like it's just such a Russian thing. It feels like it'd be a fitting thing. So experimental facilities, we're going for the tanks. We do have an armored specialist. So, and he is a fast learner, so I think Koshkin is going to be our scientist. And he is going to be providing breakthrough. I think once we reach breakthrough levels, we can start the special project, which is then going to give us things. All right. We've got the regular research. So we'll start out obviously with the basics, machine tools and construction and electronic mechanical engineering. You see this actually produces breakthrough progress. But unfortunately not for the things that we need. And the fortification is now in fortifications are now in a separate tree, which means that the engineering tree actually might need a bit more attention here, because I am probably going to need forts. So does that mean I can't build any forts right now? Let's have a brief look. Just can I build land fortifications on Russian territory? I can. But up to level 5 only. Okay, so I might not have to worry about that too much then, because it increases the maximum land fortress level. But building above level 5 is going to be such an industrial investment at scale anyway that I am not sure how much it's going to do. It is going to enable something, but we're not going to be bothered with it for now. So we'll do the electronic mechanical engineering. At some point, obviously, we're going to need the other experimental facilities, probably only the air one. Not too sure about physics projects. Is there anything? Yeah, nuclear. Yeah, this is all nuke things. A naval we're probably not going to need, so an air facility is going to be coming in handy. And that leaves us with one. Let's see what else we've got researched. So we've got the 1936 rifles. We do have armored cars, which I am planning to use actually. And this is not going to be min-maxed. So if this sort of thing triggers you, I am sorry. Apologies in advance. So we're pretty good on infantry tech. We do actually have the basic support techs, but there are some interesting ones. So we actually have a helicopter. It's a 1938 tech. We've got a helicopter recon and helicopter medevac. That is interesting. Helicopters did exist in World War II, but they were not really used an awful lot because they were extremely experimental and not particularly powerful. They had a very little amount of payload. So, okay, not sure. But armored engineering companies and armored maintenance, yes. So maintenance vehicles and these sort of things. I haven't played with these. We'll see what comes in useful here, but. We'll deal with that when we get there. We do actually have a fair amount of tanks. However, I do want to go on to the heavy side. We do have the BTs and the T-38. That is actually an amphibious tank. So we do start out with some amphibious tanks. That's interesting. Other than that, it's the regular light tanks, but we're quite up to date here. We've got the BT chassis. And yes, we're not going to go down to T-34. I am going to go for the super heavy tanks here. So the T-100 is going to be the direction. Other than that, we do have AA researched, and basic artillery and naval techs are actually reasonably up to date as well. We're not going to be building any carriers or battleships, so that's fine. Submarine tech is existing. We might build a few submarines and other things. But other than that, most of the trade's probably going to happen on land as well. So it should not be too much of an issue. Not much we're going to be needing to do here. Air, how's the air looking? We do have, I am thinking of going for light airframes, because last time we went the sort of strategic tactical route. So I am thinking of going down the light airframes this time, and we'll see what we do with that. So we are up to date here as well. So that's all pretty good. This is all very much ahead of time, so nothing much we need to do here. And we do have the fuel refining. Now, do we need synthetic experiments? Do we need synthetics for rubber? I'm not so sure. I might, at this point, just catch up with the tanks, honestly. We're going to go for the T100. That's unlocking the heavy tank. And let's see what, we have a few available. But we do need to, let's see what we've got. We've got the mass mechanized equipment production that does a lot of things, but let's see what this all does. This goes for truck mechanized, yeah, pretty much everything. We've got mobile mechanized, we've got an experimental all-round, a naval artillery. Okay, interesting that we can use a tank research for something that's actually artillery. All right, but we do have a heavy protection tank designer, which sounds like something that I want. So let's see what this gives us for our tanks. We can, we've got 10% armor or 20% armor, another 5% armor here, and hardness. Okay, hardness for less reliability, more hardness, entrenchment, and then we've got soft attack, hard attack piercing, and distribution things. Doesn't look too bad, but let's have a quick look at the other ones that are available. There are a few that we can't yet. We've got the general that we can't yet use because we probably haven't used the respective focuses. So that's an artillery designer. So this is probably not going to do an awful lot for tanks. This is all, yeah. This is Toad AA. Yeah, this is an artillery designer, so we don't really need that one. We've got the mobile one, which is probably the wrong direction because that is going for speed. That's trucks, armor. There we go. Yeah, this is speed and fuel capacity. Nope, not interested. We're not going for fast tanks. And this one is a very wide array of things. Well, let's see what that does. That is for mechanized. There we go. Production. This is just going to be production, isn't it? Yeah, this looks like it's just production. So this is the produce mediocre equipment but make a lot of it sort of approach. Nah, I'm happy with this one. We're going with the heavy tank designer. All right, then that's that sorted. Construction. What are we looking at? We have 50 civilian factories, and one of the specialties with the Kaiserreich mod is that we're reasonably certain that we know when the Second Weltkrieg is starting. So it's not going to be an early war because we actually can't, except for sending things out for supporting civil wars and similar things. It's not really going to be an awful lot that we can do otherwise. So let's go for. In that case, going for civilian factories is probably a good approach. So let's build a few civilian factories. Okay, we're not building the fortifications. That was just to me to check. And we are definitely going to need some infrastructure in areas that have a reasonably high number of building slots. Although it seems that they haven't really changed that an awful lot. In fact, from what I remember, there should actually have been some better provinces here when it comes to the amount of building slots. It looks like it's only Moscow where, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Here we go. Yeah, that's more like it. So yeah, Petrograd, not Leningrad. Lenin is dead. These are all, the rest is all relatively low, so we probably don't need it's not going to be an awful lot of use to build up infrastructure there, because we actually can't build an awful lot of factories just yet. So we might just build some infrastructure once, let's keep going with the factories for now. And let's see where we got some reasonably high infrastructure, and we'll start there, and then we will work our way down here. So a few factories that we can go here, And I do like to have a reasonably sized civilian economy before we do anything else. So let's queue up some infrastructure. But before we do that, obviously we're short on rubber. Who can we trade rubber for? We can trade with Germany East Asia, but obviously that's not going to help because we are eventually going to be an enemy of them. We can obviously trade with the German Empire or the Kingdom of Siam, but the Kingdom of Siam is potentially problematic as well. For now, it's going to work, but it's not an awful lot of rubber. We could trade with the Dutch East Indies, but that is a convoy problem. And if we are running into conflicts with Japan, so I think we might need synthetic factories after all, to be honest. Well, we'll see where we can get some rubber, but there, other than that, there is not an awful lot. So Brazil obviously would be the other option, but again, this would mean going through the Mediterranean. That's probably our best bet here, but the amount that they could trade away is not huge. So we'll deal with that once we've cleared out our production queue. But yeah, we might definitely need some. Synthetics infrastructure-wise. Yeah. Other than that, we're definitely going to be short on aluminium. We're pretty decent on steel at this point. So let's see. Are we digging up aluminium from the ground anywhere where we can improve that early on? It looks like there we go. I've got some aluminium, so let's get that scheduled. Other than that, most of this is steel. It's got some aluminium back here. There we go. Okay, now that should help with the aircraft production. And yeah, other than that, mostly not an awful lot. In terms of oil, we are controlling some of the oil, but not all of it. That's definitely an area where we need to do something, but that probably also means that for the time being, we might have to improve our own oil extraction. We do actually have some rubber. We do have some rubber resources. That is interesting. Oh, we have a synthetic refinery. Okay, so we actually do start out with, what is this, 3 synthetic factories. Okay, so yeah, that is definitely going to be a branch. I'm not going to change this for now, but we haven't even researched the synthetic oil experiments. So that's definitely something we need to go down, which means we are going to need an industrial concern, if we are going to include synthetics, that, let's see what we've got. Oh, this is interesting. Some of these actually have some interesting impact on things here. That's construction speed. Okay, they've changed this quite a bit. Usually I would expect research time here. Petroleum companies, synthetic research, that's very specific. This is significantly better. Modify. Oh yeah, that is yes, that requires a focus, but that's going to improve the amount of rubber we're going to get out. So okay, the game definitely wants us to go down the synthetic route. All right, we'll deal with that when we get to it, but definitely something that we want to look at. All right, so production. What have we got? Let's look at our models, because most of that's probably going to be rubbish. So anything that's interwar is immediately going to be decommissioned. That's interwar. Basic. We have the improved light. So anything that's basic light is going to be decommissioned as well. I don't think I'm not sure if we're using the SU5 and the SU6. Let's have a look. If so, they're probably going to be in here, and they are not. So okay, that looks relatively familiar. So we can decommission these as well. We don't need them. We've got the T-38 amphibious, which is an interesting choice, but probably not going to be using it. And we've got the BT-7 and the BT-7A as the improved lights. What do we have? We've got welded armor, Christie, 2-man turret with a small cannon on it. So yeah, and we've got some additional machine guns. and obviously no MIO because that still costs. That has been removed in I think 1.16.6, but it's not on the compatibility list, so I'm not risking weird bugs with Kaiserreich. So I'm still going to have to pay XP, but we get there actually reasonably quickly. All right, planes, aircraft, where are we at? We've got the interwar airframes. No, we're not going to be using that. Same goes for the carrier airframes. We've got so everything that's interwar is going to be decommissioned for starters. So we've got a lot of older designs that we're not going to be using. Interwar. And we've got the medium airframe. We've got so we've got a fighter, the I-16 bis, and yes, that looks as disastrous as it does in the base game. Yeah, that's going to need improvements. We've got transport planes. We've got basic naval bombers. Okay, these are actually better at being fighters. So if we're comparing this to the I-16, this is actually a better fighter than the I-16. So yeah, the I-16 is complete rubbish. So these biplanes here are actually reasonably decent. We've got the basic medium bombers. So that's just your off-the-shelf tactical, and the same here, although that one's got different bomb racks. This is probably a slight, what is this? Heavy bomb locks. So that's for, that's for additional bombs on the wings, I would assume, whereas the other one has got the regular bomb locks. Not really planning to go much on the tactical bombers. We're mostly going to be going small airframes at this point. We'll leave them in for now, but let's see what we are actually producing. Oh, naval techs, yes. All right, submarines. Let's decommission everything that we don't want. This is a sort of hybrid mine-laying submarine. Not a fan. We've got the Stuka class. This is a very basic submarine, and we've got the Srednaya class, which is the exact same thing. So we don't. Why is this more expensive then? This has got engine 2 and twin torpedoes, and this one's got an older engine. All right, so that we don't want. But with the Srednaya class, we can probably work. All right, Weltkrieg heavy hull, not going to be building those. We've got the leader class of destroyer. What is that? That is a very basic fleet destroyer with a weird combination of turrets. So it's got a 105 millimeter rapid fire in the bow position, and it's got an 85 millimeter in the stern, which is probably sort of meant to be an AA gun, but it's not actually AA capable. All right, and we've got the Gnevny class, which is arguably worse. Okay, all right, so that's not great. That's better. So let's decommission the Gnevnys. None of these are anti-submarine warfare, by the way, at all. So that's something we might actually have to design. We've got the Ismail class of really old battleships. Yeah, we're not going to be building any more of these, but we probably have a few of them sitting around. Your typical sort of Weltkrieg era old battleship, decommission that, not going to be building any more of these. And we've got a heavy cruiser, the Admiral Nakimov class. Your typical scout cruiser with the float plane catapult, but we're probably not going to be doing an awful lot with these. I'm going to leave it in here. We have no light cruiser designs by the look of it. And not yet sure what we're going to be doing with the Navy. Definitely the Black Sea is an interesting. So Black Sea and Baltic Sea are probably going to be our main areas. Obviously, we have no connection, but Baltic Sea against the Germans, and Black Sea for potentially trade access to Brazil for additional rubber if we need it. Other than that, and maybe to the Austro-Hungarians as long as the Ottomans don't join, we might be able to get aluminium from them this way. We'll see. We'll see who we trade with in the end. But Baltic's definitely going to be interesting because we will have to obviously defend our coast here. So that's a fjord where we can probably use submarines quite effectively. So we'll probably be focusing on submarines mostly, but we'll see where we get at. All right, I think that's pretty much the basics out of the way. We do have an intelligence agency. Okay, that's good to know. So we're going to get an operative, and then we can get that underway. Production. So what are we actually building? What are we short of? I don't think this has rolled over yet. I would be very surprised if we actually had positive infantry equipment. But let's do, all right. We do have a few free factories. So definitely want 10 factories on infantry equipment, 5 on support. I want 5 on artillery. We are building the BT-7s, and we do have a fair. Usually, the Russians tend to have a fair amount of tank divisions to start out with. So, yep, we've got 8 of them. Some experienced, but some under strength. The more interesting question is what equipment are they running with? That's a T-27, T-26, BT-5s. And okay, some of the new ones are running on the BT-7. Okay, so mostly older equipment, and that means we are going to we're probably going to be building a fair amount of the BT-7s for starters, because we can use these light tanks in the early wars. We're going to stop the production of T-28s, and the T-26 RT is not going to be built anymore either. We do have AA. We do need AA, so I'm going to get 5 on AA. And we are building trucks. We have very few trucks, so I'm probably going to be let's put 5 on trucks and 5. I've got 220 trains. We probably don't need 5 on trains. Let's put 2 on trains. All right, dockyards. We have 5 of them. I think we can probably cancel a few production lines that haven't even started yet, and free up the dockyards to just at least complete the ships that are already being worked on. So let's do that. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get the ships completed that are already being worked on. Aircraft above the ships, please, so I can actually see what I'm doing. We're not going to be building the mediums. We do have the interwar close air support. We don't have rubber anyway right now. I mean, we are going to get some, but we're going to trade for some rubber. But probably not going to continue with the interwar CAS wing here. And these are just rubbish. So I think I've scaled them both down to 1. I just don't want to lose the production efficiency here. We can use that as a basis for future improvements, but. We're going to have to design new aircraft reasonably soon, and we're probably going to be selling some. I've made that mistake last time. I said, I'm just going to sell the aircraft, and then we were in all kinds of wars involvement. All right, that starts looking like a production line, and yes, we need upgrades. We need lots of upgrades on these, and we'll get there. We are short 4 on rubber. Not yet going to trade for it because these planes are crap anyway. So. Don't care too much. The trucks are taking priority anyway. We are a bit short here. What's our economic law? Export focus. We can stay on that. That's fair. Obviously, we do need to get off civilian economy, but we can go to early mobilization reasonably soon. Well, provided we actually get political power, which is going to be the interesting part. All right, national focuses. What's the focus tree like? We've got a fair amount, not as many as with Germany, but this might change as we go. There is a balance, and this is again a mechanic that I'm not familiar with. So we'll look at that later. What do we got? We've got one. I think this is Savinkov's tree. So Savinkov himself, obviously a nationalist dictator and a terrorist, as we know. So that will be his tree. We've got organizing relief work. This sounds like something that's going to be dealing with Black Monday. And we've got the foreign politics tree, which leads down to, I think, the preemptive war against Germany. So this is the this is sort of the kickoff of the Second Weltkrieg. And we've got an army tree, an intelligence branch, we've got an air force tree, and we've got a navy tree. And then down here, just by the sheer color of it, this is going to be the left wing, which we're not going to go for. And we have so this must then be the not Savinkov tree. Not sure where we are finding what we're finding in here. We'll go through that. We're going through that eventually. And this is probably this is the post-Weltkrieg tree, which we're not going to be doing an awful lot here. But the goal, as I said, is going to be to bring Russia back to greatness. And we have some ideas, and it will involve the Romanovs. Anyway. Well, we have very little actually available. All of these are locked in. The entrenched opposition. Which one is that? This one. Okay. So we can't even do anything on that unless we get rid of entrenched opposition. Is there one that we can use to do this? Entrenched. No. So that'll go away by itself then, I assume, because that'll be going away by event. All right. Then let's just get something that's quick. That's 21 days for 10 army experience. 35 days for a free intelligence, a free operative, 5% stability, a free intelligence upgrade, and a potential advisor. That's not bad. We've got this. This might annoy the military, and I'm assuming not this one. Okay. But it gives me 30 air experience, so that would be interesting as well. But I think we'll start out with the addressing of the army, and we'll that is a quick one, and it gives me 10 army XP, and it gives the Russian army event, which I don't know what it does, but it's a quick one. We'll do this. So. Denikin, whose theories have dictated Russia's reforms for the past decade, argued that quality is a quantity of its own. See, this is exactly what I'm going for here. Quality over quantity. So we're doing the opposite of historical Soviet Union, which was obviously favoring quantity over quality, and it worked. This quality and offensive-oriented spirit has served us well for now, but with tensions rising around the world and the arms race intensifying, we cannot afford to hesitate if we are to maintain our military at the modern level. Yes, so let's do that. We'll be addressing the army. We do have the standard set of armed forces. I'll be organizing that between episodes because it's not all that interesting. We do have 94 divisions to start out with. Usually, at least in the base game, we should have a fair amount of mountain divisions. Only 3 this time, okay. So let's have a quick look at our division templates. We've got the sort of internal forces division. By the way, I do have the unit submodules for Kaiserreich installed, which I missed last time. So that's a military police division. Might be interesting at some point to use for occupation. We've got the regular infantry division, which is a 16 with missing a infantry battalion and a line artillery, but it's a start. We have the cavalry division, which has recon. Might be useful early on, 16 with cavalry. It's a little faster, but we do have the light tanks. This is another cavalry division. This is a Cossack division. Okay, I see. The Cossacks obviously being the better cavalry. We do have the light tank division, which does have engineers. Nice. And we got motorized recon. I'm going to change that up to motorized cars at some point. 16 with light tank. Something we can probably work with. 24 armor or 25 armor. Let's say regular. Nothing should be able to pierce that at this point. Yes, this is the chonky 24 with mountain division. This is actually a pretty capable a pretty capable division. It's missing some line artillery, but other than that, this is not bad. I would have preferred engineers, but not bad. And we've got, yeah, the usual Marines. Probably not going to be doing an awful lot with the Marines, to be honest. Might be useful for some river crossings early on, but later on we can force river crossings without too much trouble. So, okay, well, that's what we're starting out with. Like I said, I'll organize that in between. We'll just have a quick look at the generals without actually assigning anybody. Woo, we have some qualified people here. What is this? Legacy of the Whites. Oh, okay, because they have some history. This is a monarchist officer. Okay, these will obviously be people that we'll be working with because we are about to depose Savinkov. And his organizer, infantry leader, and commando. We've got some nice officers. Combined arms expert, winter specialist. The legacy of the Whites is not great because it's the minus 10% experience gain, but in return we get a 10% skill bonus improvement as well. So we've got some. Now we will see if there are any purges, and if there are any consequences. But we've got some capable generals here. Field marshals. Who do we have? Kornilov, who is, I believe, he is quite capable. But yeah, I am not. I'm not gonna assign anybody yet because I'm assuming that people might get in trouble, at least if the original if the base game mechanics is anything to go by. We'll see how it's being handled here. But he is definitely a very capable. He is a Republican officer. Do we have actually somebody who's a monarchist? Yes, Field Marshal Rangel, Piotr. So he's a defensive, charismatic. Okay, so he's a monarchist. He is Markov seems to be politically neutral, but we've got Denikin and Kornilov, who both are Republican officers. We'll see what kind of impact that'll have. We'll see how that ends up. But yeah, definitely some capable people here. Air Force is going to be a wild mix of things. Just general, probably let's have a quick look generally. What do we actually have? We've got 160 CAS, 600 fighters, but they're all rubbish. 160 naval bombers, 580 TACs, 90 strategic, and 5 naval patrol planes. That is not a bad Air Force to begin with. We're going to be not going to be making the same mistake of selling the tactical bombers. I might sell the strategic ones because not really planning to do anything in that regard. But the quality is probably a bit of an issue here, but it's not a terrible Air Force. And the Navy, we're obviously going to have some forces here. We do have the Baltic Fleet. What do we got? Battleships, heavy cruiser, and a few destroyers. We do have some light cruisers, but we don't have any designs for them, interestingly. And a bunch of submarines over there. We do have that should say Black Sea Fleet, if I'm reading this correctly. Yep. We've got this one, Vladivostok. So that's the Pacific Fleet. Okay. It's a battleship over there. So we do have a few old battleships, and we've got where is this one? Murmansk. Oh, that's the sort of that's the Frozen Fleet here. So we've got a few ships. Probably going to be mostly leaving them as is. We should have a decent amount of fuel, not as much as we would normally have. We are good on trains, but we are very much in need of trucks. Honestly, seeing how we only have 3 trucks, we might actually have to have 10 factories on trucks for a while, just to build up our motorized equipment here. So that is going to be needed for supply, because that's going to be an absolute issue otherwise. All right, I think we've covered pretty much everything. We don't have a land doctrine yet. That is interesting. So traditional Soviet would be mass assault. Last time I've played on Grand Battle Plan, which is one of my favorites, honestly. And I'll think about it. I know that superior firepower is sort of considered meta, but I do love the Grand Battle Plan doctrine. It is so powerful if you are playing defensive. Might do that actually again, because we have a significantly buffed Reichspakt to deal with. So I'm fully assuming that we're going to be defensive early on, and we're going to be holding while trying to retake, like, say, Ukrainian territory and get the sort of Kiev-Kherson line here, and get that sorted out as a defensive line, and probably take Riga. That would be not bad. So yeah, I think that'll be the sort of the first war goals. But if we just have to defend ourselves, if we just have to run defensive in the rear, then Grand Battle Plan is going to be hugely successful. I might actually go with that again in going forward. We do have okay manpower. War support's obviously terrible because of German economic influence, and our stability isn't great, and that's going to get worse, I'm assuming, once things are happening. So there's the setup, and we will be beginning in earnest. Given that this is Kaiserreich, it's going to be a slow burn through the early years, where we're not going to be fighting except for small wars. I don't know if we're going to be tussling with Finland in this timeline, but we're going to get involved as much as we can, probably just to inflict some damage early on, and see. Probably not going to get involved in the American Civil War this time around, but we're going to get involved just to train our divisions and get some ground experience, and obviously also to make it a bit more interesting rather than just going through the lore all the time. But there we go. That's the setup. That's the plan. And I am very much looking forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.